You probably know this feeling. You really want to develop a new habit and you start, but after a few days, maybe a few weeks, it gets too difficult and you quit. In today's video, I will be talking about why is it so difficult to stick to new habits from the point of view of neuroscience, and how you could finally break this negative pattern and develop and stick to your healthy habits. More in today's video. Hi, I have a PhD in neuroscience, and on the channel Neuroproductivity, we talk about developing healthy habits and achieving our goals using principles of neuroscience. Today's video, I will be talking about why is it so hard to stick to new habits and how you can break this cycle and develop new habits by using the principles of your brain. Let's now first explain why is it so difficult to stick to habits. If you notice that in the beginning you try to do a new habit, maybe going to the gym, waking up early in the morning, working on your business, not scrolling on your phone, and you manage to persist for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but then you quit. Basically, it's too difficult and you quit. What happened in that case is that most likely your brain has not developed a brain circuit that is in charge of that habit. So what does that mean? When we have a habit that we do have a brain circuit for, the habit becomes automatic, basically effortless. That is why, for example, we can walk without thinking. We can also sit down and watch Netflix without thinking because we have a brain circuit for that. We can also talk without too much thinking. That is because we have a dedicated circuit for this action. And when we have this circuit, the circuit takes care of the action itself, of the habit itself, and you don't need to think too much, and also there is not so much friction. So it's basically easy to do it. That is why athletes can work out so much, because they have brain circuits dedicated for working out. That is why musicians can easily play music, play an instrument, because they have a brain circuit developed for that. That is why good students can easily study, because they already developed brain circuits for studying. If you really resist a habit and it's really hard for you to stick to it, it might mean that you don't have a brain circuit dedicated for that. However, there is a solution. Basically, you can build that brain circuit. And there are two main steps that you can do. Step number one is to start small. So you want to choose something that is not going to be too difficult. For example, if you want to work out, you can choose to walk every day for 15-20 minutes, because you already have a brain circuit for walking. So developing this habit of walking every day for 15 to 20 minutes is going to be less difficult because you already have similar circuit than, for example, going to the gym every day for 2 hours. If you really want to go to the gym, instead of saying I'm going to go every day for 2 hours, say I'm going to go 3 times per week for 30 minutes, because the bar is way lower of going 3 times for 30 minutes than going every day for 2 hours. Basically, it's going to be less difficult to get to that circuit. Number two, the next step, once you start small, is to repeat this small action over and over again for a few weeks or maybe even a few months. Actually, neuroscience research has shown that it takes around 66 days to develop a dedicated circuit for a brain habit, so basically for the circuit to be formed. However, depending on the habit, whether it's more difficult or easier, it can take more or less time. But the point is that you should choose to do something small regularly, repeat it over and over again, and you're gonna know that you have the dedicated brain circuit once the habit becomes easy. So basically, you start walking every day for 15 minutes. In the beginning, you might resist it. However, if you repeat it over and over again, at some point it's going to become easy. And that's actually why most of the people quit in the first few weeks, because it's too difficult and they don't know this brain trick, so they think it's going to keep being so difficult and then they say it's not worth it. However, if they would just persist and stick to it for a few more weeks, they would reach the point when the brain circuit is developed and it will become easier for them. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments down below what is a habit that you would like to develop. And if you want your own personalized system for developing healthy habits, my coaching program Neuroproductivity might be a good fit for you. To learn more about the program, schedule a 30 minutes free discovery call by clicking on the link in the description down below. So you just click on that link, you schedule the call, and we talk one-on-one for 30 minutes. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and keep up to date with my channel for some of my future videos.